we have here is I believe it's an 11-inch Samsung Galaxy Tab. It's a very nice little device. It runs Android. I'm not sure what version it's running, but it belongs to my cousin. He's 10 years old, and the battery no longer holds a charge. In fact, it won't even charge past 40%. One of the first things I did was I tried charging it with a higher milliamp USB charger, and it didn't help. I didn't think it would. I also ran all the system updates just in case. There might be an update for a battery recalibration or something, but wishful thinking. The truth is, devices like these and iPads use lithium-ion batteries. Some of them use lithium polymer batteries, and it looks like this one is a lithium-ion. But what happens is, if the battery is allowed to fully discharge, it can actually have a fairly detrimental effect. Now, the common knowledge is that on a rechargeable battery, see, a lot of people don't know the differences between NiCad, nickel metal hydride, lithium-ion, lithium polymer, zinc air. They don't know the differences between these batteries, and a characteristic of the old NiCads and the nickel metal hydride batteries is that they would develop a memory effect if they were discharged partially and then fully charged, and then discharged partially and then fully charged, which is why the common misnomer or common knowledge was to drain the battery until it was completely flat and then charge it. And that would avoid a memory effect. The problem is lithium ions and lithium polymers tend to blow up if they're allowed to fully discharge to like 0% and then charge up. It's actually as detrimental to those batteries as running a NiCad halfway down and then charging it. So you can see the confusion and why many people don't really understand what they're doing. So it's people like me who work on these devices, it's my responsibility to show him how to properly handle this. Another thing that people do is a lot of times they leave these devices in their cars, and they get exposed to extreme highs and extreme lows. For example, in New England, if you leave your laptop in your car or iPad or what have you, and it's left in overnight in the winter, it can get absolutely freezing. It could get well below freezing, and that actually has a detrimental effect on battery packs as well. Here's why. Your laptop is in your car, the thing freezes to death. The battery was fully charged when you put it in the car, but because of the thermal effect it has on batteries, the battery doesn't put out as much current as it did when it was at operating temperature. So you plug in your charger. What happens to that battery pack? It overcharges. And the cells are resistant to the charge because of the chemical reaction being slowed down by the temperature of the battery cell. So batteries suck. Just take care of them. Don't let them freeze. Don't let them boil. Don't put them in a hot car in the sun. Don't let them go dead. So this poor little thing needs a new battery. I found a used one for 25 bucks, and here it is. It has like a 14-day warranty, so if it doesn't work, nothing really lost. Brand new, I can find a Chinese knockoff battery for like $55, but I don't trust Chinese knockoff batteries more than I can, or farther than I can throw them. So I've decided to get this. This is a used battery. I'm letting it acclimate to room temperature because it's been in my mailbox for a while. So we're going to crack this sucker open, and it's really not that hard. I've worked on dozens of iPads. I've actually had them all apart, and this is the easiest device I've ever worked on. The iPads are fun because it's just, let's just not get into that right now. So with this device, what we want to do is use, preferably, if you have one, a plastic iPad pry tool. They use them for iPads and iPhones. I don't have one here, but I have a thin flat blade screwdriver. With enough skill and care, you can pop this device open without ruining it with a flat blade screwdriver by gently taking one corner by this. I do it by this little speaker grill, and then you pull it away from the glass, and gently slide your pry tool in there, like so. This has already been pried, and you just want to open the gap up a little bit enough to get a screwdriver in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up this gap a little bit more. You don't want to go too far in there because we could damage the screen itself, and well, that would suck. So, in fact, I'm going to work this gap open. I don't own this device, so I'm going to be as gentle as I can with it, within reason. Yeah, this is definitely not the right tool to use. You heard it from me now. You could crack the glass with it. And if it cracked the glass, I owe this sucker a new iPad. I mean, a new tablet. I believe this is held together with adhesives. I don't know for sure. The adhesive, I'm using 2 screwdrivers. I'm sure this I don't know if the camera is focusing enough on me, but I'm using 2 screwdrivers and slowly working my way down. Like so. Don't go too fast, because if it is adhesive and you go too fast, it won't release properly. In fact, I don't think this is working. I'm going to have to... I really wish I had the right tools with me. I might have to... I'm going to stop this right now, and tomorrow I'm going to bring the right tools home. And we're going to crack it open with the right tool, so I don't damage the screen. As it turns out, it is not held together by adhesive. It's actually clipped inside or into the bezel, and I have now liberated the 2 halves just by working my way slowly around the perimeter, unclipping it. And this, my friends, is what the Galaxy Tab looks like when it's outside of its bezel. And there's the massive battery that we need to change out. So there we go. I'm going to do a quick check around the perimeter to make sure I didn't break anything. No, it looks pretty good. And I think that's a nice magnesium frame, or it could be aluminum. No, it's magnesium, I think. Lightweight and strong. Not bad. This is actually a better looking device on the inside than the iPad is. If you can imagine that. So, no real damage to the bezel. And here's our battery. And it looks like the production date, 11/26 of 2012, and our new battery was made in 7/29 of 2012, so it's actually older than the device. Cool. Alright, we're going to unplug these ribbon cables, move them out of the way. They're held in place by capped-on tape. This yellow stuff here. In case you were ever wondering what that was, that's what it is. It's an anti-static tape, primarily used for electronics. And we're just going to rip that off. They only put that on there so that the cables can never work their way loose after the device is manufactured. So we'll just rip those out and unclip or unsnap these little retention rings. Bing, bing, and bing. Okay. To avoid any data corruption, I've actually powered the device off completely before starting this project. Oh, here's the battery cable. I need to pull that up. Up, up, and away. And it looks like this one snaps in like so. Okay. The device is now depowered. We're going to need our Phillips head screwdriver. And we need to remove all of these screws. Because the battery is part of the device's structural integrity, we don't want to lose any screws. We want to make sure those all go back to where they came from. So, once I know that this device is fully repaired, I'm going to give my cousin a quick lesson in how to keep it from dying again. Assuming the battery works. I mean, basically we bought a pig in a poke. The battery is sold with a warranty from a company that sells wireless device parts, but it is used. So we don't know what kind of abuse it's seen. We don't know how many charge cycles. We know nothing. We bought a pig in a poke. But for $25, I'll take that chance. Alright. There we go. The battery is now liberated. Bada boom, bada bing. Now, where is the wire? Oh, there it is. It's folded for itself. Okay, good. I'm going to slide this sucker back in here, gently. And we're going to screw the battery in place before we do anything. And what's nice about this device is I can test it fully prior to reassembly. So I can make sure that that battery is good so I don't ever have to take it apart again. You know what I mean? You don't need to go too tight on these screws because it's only a tablet. We're not building a battleship. Personally, I find that a tablet this big is kind of unwieldy. I mean, I'd go with a 7-inch, maybe. I don't own a tablet. I don't really have any plans of buying a tablet. But if I were, it would probably be an Android device. I'm not terribly crazy with iOS. I'm crazy for it. I think iOS is quite limited, and although it has its place, you know, the walled garden approach is certainly beneficial for lower skilled people. You know, and that's really what it's for. It's not designed to replace a desktop PC, no matter how many people, or even a laptop, no matter how much people think that's really what it's for. I don't think it does a very good job for major computing tasks. It's not the fastest device. Has no expansion whatsoever. I just don't like the iOS devices. And I say that, and I actually support iOS devices in an educational environment. So it's kind of a, you know, I have mixed emotions. On one hand, they help I earn a living dealing with the devices, but on the other hand, I wouldn't buy one myself. I almost actually bought an iPad mini. I don't think I ever mentioned that. I almost bought one, and I was turned off by it, by just the general limitations of it, you know. Alright, this thing should turn on. If the battery is charged, going against my own golden rule, I'm turning on a device with a battery with an unknown charge condition. The power switch is right here, I think. No? No, that definitely is the power switch. Right? Yes. So the battery might be dead. Or not, just not charged. Okay, so we're going to plug it into a power source. See how she goes. I'm using my, what is this, a 1 amp? Or it's a, oh wait, no, it's only rated for 0.2 amps. Oh, output 5.1 volts, 850 milliamps. Okay, that's not enough. Alright, the time has come for us to test our Galaxy Tab and see if the repair worked. So, the issue before was it wouldn't charge more than like 40% of the battery, and furthermore, it wouldn't run for more than a couple of minutes off the battery. So, we're going to power it on here. Okay. I don't want to put weight on the USB cable, so I'm going to hold it up like this. Samsung. Amazing how that South Korean electronics manufacturer managed to take over almost every other electronics manufacturer in the world almost overnight. In fact, all of my stuff is Samsung. My TV, my Blu-ray player. Yeah, so I'm slowly... I drive a South Korean car. So the Koreans are taking over the Japanese. Absolutely. Anyway, let's wait for this sucker to boot up. Actually, my RCA VCR is a Samsung, come to think of it. Alright. Looks like we have a full battery. Not quite full, but definitely fuller than it was. Still has a ways to go to charge, but it's charging. That's the point. We're going to power it off. Unplug the power. And we're going to put it back in its case. Come on, turn off. Turn off! There we go. I had to yell louder. That's the trick. Alright, so here's the shell. Alright, and it looks like we gotta put the headphone jack in first. And the headphone jack is here. Okay. And we're just going to gently press around the edges to lock it in place. This is way easier than the iPad, which requires heat guns and chisels and razor blades. Just to turn it off. Funny story. I would say my coworker, but he's technically my boss's boss, the highest level of employee, or highest entity where I work. His personal iPad broke. Well, it wouldn't turn on, it wouldn't turn off, it wouldn't do anything. And I had to give it a hard reset. I tried everything under the sun to shut it off or turn it on. Nothing worked, so I had to disassemble it. Cracked the display cover as I was pulling it off, of course. And found I took the battery out for 2 seconds, or what, I think I did like 5 minutes or something. Put it back in again, and it came back to life. It's been working fine ever since. But the scary thing is when you build a device like that, you're really putting a lot of faith in your design. And I don't care if you're Apple, Samsung, Sony, I don't care who you are, no design is perfect. and that could lead to a very expensive repair bill for a customer, you know. But that's what I don't like about some of these new devices, is they're almost, well, they are designed to be disposable, but we all know that nothing is really disposable. You can fix everything. Anything can be repaired. Just how much are you willing to put forth in effort? So, turn it back on in the case, running on the battery. Okay, looks promising. It should still be charged fully, though, before I run it off the battery. I'm going to actually give it to him tomorrow, and, you know. Only got a couple of nicks in the bezel right there with my tools. That's kind of a shame. I didn't want to do that. If I had the plastic tool, that wouldn't have happened. So, oh well. Anyway, comes on. Let's see if we can get the battery menu to come up. If it even has such a thing. Battery. 66%. I'm going to plug it back in, see if that goes up to 100.